welcome back. Um, so now you're deciding to install um, Ollama or Gemma 4 on KBM. Maybe because you're using OpenAI or Google or Anthropic, but because of this mix-up, sometimes it's hard to determine which one is the best, right? So there's you in this video you will learn how to combine these options so you can get the best value for your dollars depending on what you're going to use. So usually nowadays people are renting BPS from Hostinger. They have four models, four types: KBM1, KBM2, KBM4, and KBM8. So for each KBM is double the capacity, right? 4 gigabyte, 8 gigabytes, 16 gigabytes, and 32 gigabytes. So now you know you need to combine this with the API using provider Google, OpenAI, and Anthropic. So um, for example, you're hosting OpenClaw. So OpenClaw will require access to AI or LLM. So you can go with this any combination, but you want the best. If, for example, the scenario is you want the cheapest setup or combination of this. Let's find out. Okay. Okay, if you choose KBM1, you will have only 4 gigabyte RAM. So, and then you install Ollama, Gemma, Gemma, and minimum is like around 9 gigabytes of memory for the host. So your 4 gigabyte here. There's an option also like a 4 gigabyte smaller E2B, Gemma 4 E2B. So that's 4 gigabyte might not be sufficient, so it will not work. So you go to KBM2. So you have 8 gigabytes. The system, for example, you're using Open Web UI or let's say OpenClaw. So it will consume at least half of that. So you will 4 gigabyte headroom. So it might work in KBM2, but it's not gonna be fast because it's just using CPU. So yeah. So why are you using Ollama instead of using API? Maybe you have a requirement of privacy and you don't have GPU. You can wait because it's not that important or non-critical application are running, and developer friendly because you are using local, so you can do whatever you want there. That's the cheapest rate. So you can run models locally with Ollama Gemma 4 on Hostinger VPS for maximum privacy and control. If you can connect here, it's good too. So if you use this API, KBM1 is sufficient. So because this is just an API call, it will do the heavy lifting in the data center and then give you the data. So that will work too. But the thing here is you're trying to determine the cheapest option, right? So the cheapest option here is KBM1 plus this. But if you consider the time is using KBM1 and this, let's say for the next 1 year or 2 years, then the most effective is using KBM2 at least, KBM4 and KBM8, and then using Ollama because you're not paying API. And that is assuming that your Ollama and Gemma 4 are enough to support your application. So it's not complicated enough. It's just RAG application or any AI that is not that too heavy computation, and to not requiring current information on even searching the web. So, or not requiring too much tooling. That will be the Gemma Ollama combination will be enough. Okay, so this is my slide. So Hostinger KBM plus AI model cost comparison. So we're trying to determine the cheapest one. So here, the baseline scenario for API totals is 2 million tokens input plus 0.5 million output. So this is based on like an average of 25% output. So US dollars as of April 9. So overall, cheapest API stock, use KBM1 of course. So because it's only some $8 something, and then given the Gemini 2.5 Pro rate at this rate of usage 2 million tokens, you will get approximately $14 per month. So this is the cheapest one, $14 per month, KBM1, and you're using Gemini 2.5. But if you want some, if you want to use premium quality of output, it should be Hostinger KBM1 and GPT 5.4. When it comes to cloud, cross-cloud infrastructure, it is still Hostinger are the winner when compared to costing when you use VM from Azure, AWS, or Google Cloud. So it's still pricing of Hostinger are the lowest. So for the self-hosting value, it is KBM4 and Ollama. Why KBM4? Because the capacity of KBM4 that can support local LLM, which is Ollama, and Gemma 4 or other Quen maybe. So it's only because KBM4 is only $13 approximately fixed. You're paying monthly rent of KBM4. So, and then you're not paying API. So in the long run, you will get more value if the requirements are not changing. Now, if we assume that your usage is like constant, there's no variable, or like the variable is fixed, it's the same operation for the longest time, for let's say for the whole 2 years, same operation, nothing changing month to month, day to day. So the winner in that setup should be KBM4 and using Ollama, because you're not paying API costs. So for example here, KBM4, this is the best value using Gemma 4, because for self-hosting you can use E2B or E4B while Q4. Winner for local cost effectiveness. If you use KBM2, that's okay too, but this is a borderline. So only use this for experiment, not for production. And KBM8, if you want to spend more, this is your base, and then spend more so that you have more room. You will be capable of installing bigger model. Instead of E4B, you can go for 26B. So that is more capacity. Depending on your application, or running on 32 gigabyte. If that application have more room, then you can install 26B. better only for larger local variants. Now, assuming if there's that operation have non-batch pricing and it's below 200k for it's the average 2 million input tokens and 0.5 output tokens per month, then here is the cost monthly totals, so you have an idea. KBM1 for VPS alone, $649, and then this is approximately $14 Gemini 2.5 monthly cost. If it is 5 GPT, it's $18.99, and Cloud Opus $28.99. But this setup, because using API, it is possible to run in KBM1, which is the cheapest overall API stack. So if you use KBM4 and 2, slightly higher. KBM2, if you double the capacity for memory and RAM, for memory and disk capacity, you will add $250 per month, but you double the capacity. You can install OpenClaw and Ollama Gemma 4. So, what the safest bet is you go to KBM4. It's only $13 per month. It is not the cheapest, but usually you need to be ready to use 16 gigabyte so that your application is secured that it will run. KBM rate is if you double that capacity, then you have more assurance. As I was saying earlier, so the initial usage, if you use the KBM1 and then the API, initially it is cheapest option, but in the long run, if you use it constantly, like 1 year or 2 years, then KBM4 is using KBM4, even if the monthly payment or VPS is higher. In the long run, it will beat the combination of KBM1 and Gemini, KBM1 plus GPT, KBM1 plus Cloud Office, because they are paying tokens or API usage. So, like here, if this combination, if this pair using Gemini 2.5 reaches to 173 million tokens and 0.43 out tokens, then the price are near. So, and probably KBM4 is the cheapest. Same thing for GPT-0.5 and Cloud. So here, for example, 1.73 million tokens using Cloud Opus. It's cheaper to use KBM8 and Ollama and Gemma 4 because your API usage is free. Now, if you are curious of using in Azure, AWS, Google, EC2, you're thinking that this can be used to install OpenClaw and use Ollama, right? So that you will not pay for API. But the monthly cost of this is higher because this is per hour and usually reach higher, not only 10 times higher, expensive, 10 times more expensive. Just like this chart here, you'll see for 4 gigabyte, which is KBM1, compared to Azure, $12.99 per month versus $37. So that's more than half. So the KB 4 gigabyte class, $12 compared to AWS, $27 compared to Google, $24. So these are a lot double, half of 24.46. So the highest is Azure, 30. So Hostinger is the winner, and the same for the rest. KVM2 is 16 gigabyte, 8 gigabytes, KVM4 16, and KVM8 32. All the winner is Hostinger. So final winner call. If the question is what is the most cost-effective overall setup, the cheapest API-based stack is KVM1 plus Gemini. Best premium model, Hostinger, KVM1 plus GPT 5.4 or GPT 5.5. Best local self-hosting value, Ollama running at KVM4 because KVM4 can fit Gemma 4. Best raw infrastructure price across clouds is always Hostinger against Azure, AWS, and GCP. So there's an assumption here and scope. Gemini 2.5 Pro is assumed as standing pricing. So as per stable fruitier rates, Hostinger monthly prices shown on its website are amortized monthly rates for prepaid multi-month terms. So if you have 12 and that's cheaper than monthly, and 2 years is cheaper than 1 year. Cross-cloud figures uses Linux on-demand pricing with disk space. Yeah. So if you use AWS, it will use other services. So probably more dollars that it will require. 4 gigabyte comparison is only nearly equivalent memory class. KVM1 has 1 CPU, but for Azure, they have 2 CPU and 4 gigabyte. This document compares spend, not absolute throughput. Versatile cloud families and different CPU generation can change real performance per dollar in specific workloads. So for asynchronous workloads, bots or flex pricing can reduce API costs further. That would push some break-even points higher in favor of KVM plus API. So for source notes, primary vendor pages were used for Hostinger and AI model pricing. Currently closed cloud. Kind of public comparison because of official Azure, AWS, GCP pricing pages are difficult to export in static instance-specific form from a browser. Official vendor billing pages were still used for model caveats. So I wrote 10 here. So these are the when I researched it, I went to these facts so that to consider. So I hope you found the best value for your dollars. So, and it's KVM4 or KVM8. If you need balance power and cost, so the winner is KVM4 plus Ollama plus Gemma. So Gemma that can have 27B up to that, and for only $17 per month fixed. But if you are in a budget and control, like you're not using it like every month, so probably you will use it for only 2 months maximum for experimentation. It is KVM2 plus Ollama or Gemma 4. So Ollama using a smaller model, 9B, and for $9 For performance, KBMF Ollama Gemma. Okay, thank you very much.